What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another Where Is. I hope everyone is having an amazing day. I know it's been a while since I posted a case, so without further ado, let's just go ahead and discuss today's case. So, today's case is going to be about Allie Gilmore, who was 4 months pregnant when she disappeared. Allie Gilmore was born on January 5th in 1976, and she grew up in Riviera Beach, Florida. She was a track star at Jupiter High School and she graduated high school in 1993. And then after graduating, she moved to Tallahassee and attended Florida A&M University. After graduating college, Allie landed a job at the Florida Department of Health as an analyst, and she also worked part-time at the local Publix because she always had a goal of purchasing her own home, which she soon would achieve. So, fast forward a year after she graduated college, Allie decided that she wanted to buy a picture frame for her diploma so that she could hang it up on the wall. So, she heads to the Governor Square Mall in Tallahassee to purchase the picture frame. As she enters the store, an employee by the name of James Gilmore was helping Allie that day, and they instantly hit it off with each other. Now, the two began dating pretty quickly, and in October of 2000, Allie and James got married. Now, while they were married, Allie encouraged James to go back to school. So, James did enroll in school, and for the most part, their marriage was going pretty well. However, money was getting pretty tight for them. Now, James was in a relationship prior to being with Allie, and he did have 3 kids from that relationship. So, James was having to pay child support. Again, money was tight for them, and in order to keep food on the table, Allie continued working part time at Publix. So, a few years into their marriage, Allie was able to accomplish her goal of purchasing a home, which was a rancher that was newly constructed off of Lorraine Court, which was located on the south side of Tallahassee. Now, we know that finances were causing stress in Allie and James' relationship, but with Allie working 2 jobs and James being in school, along with the stress of home ownership, things just became too much for their relationship. And according to James, in October of 2005, they decided that they both needed some space. So James moved in with his brother and Allie stayed at the home. So at this point, it had been about a month since James moved out, and Allie had actually discovered that she was pregnant. Now, she was definitely excited to learn that she was pregnant because she had always wanted children. However, this was not her first time being pregnant. She had actually gotten pregnant the year prior. However, unfortunately, she did suffer a miscarriage. So Allie was just very, very cautious with this pregnancy. Now, although they were separated, Allie and James really did want to make things work in their relationship, especially now that she was pregnant. So they began marriage counseling, and according to her coworkers, Allie was hopeful that things would work out between them and that they would be able to have a happy marriage. So that was a little bit of background on Allie. So now let's get into the disappearance. So it was February 2nd in 2006, and Allie had gotten up like normal and headed into work. However, according to her coworkers from both the Department of Health and Publix, she was acting different that day. According to her coworkers, she had been crying throughout the day, and being pregnant could have made things a bit more emotional for Allie. Now, after her closing shift that night at Publix, she had shut everything down for the night, and this would be the last time that she would be seen. So the next day, on February 3rd, Allie and James were supposed to have their marriage counseling that morning, but not only did Allie not show up, James never showed up for the appointment either. Now, James explained his side as to why he missed the appointment, and he says it's because he had actually overslept that morning. So he says that he did try calling her that afternoon at the office to apologize to her for missing the counseling session. However, James soon discovered that Allie had actually never shown up to work that day. Now, according to her coworkers, it was definitely out of character for Allie to just not show up for work. They thought that she could have possibly had a doctor's appointment and could have just forgotten to take off. However, it still was not like her. Now, James does attempt to call her the next day, which was Saturday, and he actually called her a few times. However, there was still no answer from Allie. So, according to James, he thought that she hadn't been answering his calls because she still was upset with him for missing their marriage counseling. So, he says that he decided to just give her some time. So, the weekend goes by, and on Monday morning, Allie still hadn't shown up for work, and at this point, her coworkers were very concerned, and two of them had actually went by her home that evening to check on her and to make sure that she was okay. Now, once they got to her home, they saw that her car was still in the driveway and the porch light was on, so at first, I'm sure they thought, well, okay, she's fine and she's at least at home. So they knock on her door and there was no answer. And they soon realize that Allie doesn't seem to be home. And this is when they decide to contact the police, which was around 8 p.m. that night. So once the police arrive to her home, they discover that the door is locked. So there didn't seem to be a sign of someone trying to force themselves in. The police checked inside the home and everything seemed to be in place. However, it was discovered that her comforter looked to be pulled back, so police assumed that Allie was laying in bed at some point that night. On the bed was her uniform for Publix, which was folded alongside a prenatal book that she had been reading. Now, police also checked inside her car and they actually found her purse inside, but there were still no signs of Allie. Now, police also spoke to some of Allie's neighbors, as well as James, and they all told police similar stories that she never went anywhere, especially days at a time, without letting anyone know where she was. Now, at this point, everyone was very concerned about Allie's whereabouts, and police actually had her car impounded, as well as a forensic team come out the next day to take a deeper look to see if there were any signs of possible foul play. However, unfortunately, they were never able to find anything. Now, police not only searched her home, but they also searched throughout the neighborhood as well as the surrounding areas. However, there were still no signs of Allie. Now, it was discovered after investigators spoke with her coworkers, close friends, and family that Allie hadn't had contact with anyone after she had left her part time job at Publix after her closing shift at 11 p.m. that Thursday night. Now, detectives discover that Allie had actually received a call at 12:48 a.m. on a Friday, which again was the day that Allie never showed up for work after her closing shift at Publix Thursday night. However, police hadn't released the name during the early stages of her investigation. Now, a neighbor also reports that they saw a car in Allie's driveway on Friday morning around 7:30 a.m. and they thought that the car belonged to James. So police had questioned James and he told them that he was never at her home that day and that he had absolutely no idea where Allie was. Now, they also asked him to take a voice test, which is similar to a polygraph test, and James's answers also showed that he was telling the truth, and police decided to take their focus off of James as a suspect. However, he still was a person of interest. Now, as the days went on, There were still no solid leads in the investigation. However, her family was not going to stop their search for her, and they were determined to get her name out there, so they decided to start searches of their own. They gathered large search parties to search nearby areas, such as the Apalachicola National Forest, and police and detectives made sure they searched thoroughly everywhere for her, and they even offered a $10,000 reward, which was later increased to $30,000 in March for any information that could lead to her whereabouts. They also had photos of Allie on billboards. They passed out flyers and even had yard signs made with her face on them to help in their search. Investigators also did interviews regarding her disappearance, which allowed her case to receive coverage on the local news and even had national coverage from Nancy Grace, The Montel Williams Show, as well as Dateline. Now, because of the national attention, investigators did receive tips. However, none lead to answers as to Allie's whereabouts. So, 2 months had gone by, and a large search party had been organized to help in the search for her. And this was a 2-day search. I mean, they literally left no stone unturned. But again, there was no sign of her anywhere. Now, Allie's case had slowly began to grow cold, and with her due date of July 18th approaching, her family just grew more and more devastated at the fact that she should be experiencing one of the happiest times in her life. Now, with the passing of time in her case, some information came out to the public regarding some events that occurred in Allie's life prior to her disappearance. Now, this information was shared from her sister, Tracy. Now, it was reported that Tracy had received emails from Allie before she disappeared. Now, Tracy did share the emails with the Tallahassee Democrat in July of 2009, and in the emails, Allie told her that when she went to homecoming back in October of 2005, again, homecoming was a little after James and Allie had both decided that they needed some time apart from each other, and she says that at homecoming, she had met a man named Dwight Aldridge and that they had actually had a relationship together. Now, Allie mentions in the email that Dwight could also possibly be the father of her child. Now, according to James, Allie did tell him about the affair during a counseling session that they had had, and, according to James, he did question whether or not he was the father. However, he says that he was still willing to work out their marriage. Now, Tracy also shared other emails that were from Allie back in November of 2005, and Allie tells her that Dwight had actually attended an ultrasound appointment. However, there was another email that Allie sent to her sister on December 20th of 2005, and in the email, Allie expressed that there was a bit of tension between her and Dwight. She said that they did still see each other a few times a week. However, she says that Dwight felt like Allie being pregnant had changed her too much. Now, police actually didn't see Dwight as a prime suspect until October of 2021. So, if you guys remember, Allie received a call at 12:48 a.m. the Friday night she went missing, and detectives revealed to the public that the call that she received was from Dwight. Now, police did question him, and he did admit to calling her that night. However, he says that he was out of town during that time. Now, investigators were able to track the location of the call, and it turns out that Dwight was actually not out of town and was, in fact, in Allie's neighborhood at the time that he made the call. Now, the only statement from Dwight was to the Tallahassee Democrat, and he stuck to his story that he had absolutely nothing to do with her disappearance and even denied having a romantic relationship with her and told them that they were just friends. Now, as far as her case, it is still ongoing and there have been no charges brought against him. Now, investigators do believe that Dwight is most likely the person responsible for her disappearance. However, there's still just not enough evidence proving that he is responsible. Now, her family has not given up hope and they still have faith that someone with information will come forward and that Allie will return home safely. Again, Allie was 30 years old at the time of her disappearance, and she was 4 months pregnant. She is African American with brown hair and brown eyes. At the time, she was reported to be 5'6" in height and weighed 180 pounds. She also has pierced ears and a birthmark on her abdomen and a tattoo of her name Allie on the right side of her chest. If alive, Allie would be 46 years old and her child would be 15. If you have any information, you can contact the Tallahassee Police Department at 850-574-8477. Well, that is it for me today, you guys. As always, please stay safe and I will see you in the next one.